Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and today I'm going to show you the one video that I require that you watch. I'm giving you homework today. If you watch no other video this year than the video I'm about to show you, watch this video. Please watch this video. I have summarized it for you here, but I want you to watch the video anyway because it is going to make a complete difference, especially you young people out there. It's going to really make you understand where we are in digital assets and what this really means for you and your life and the lives of your family members, especially if you're responsible for children. And this is going to make a tremendous difference in the future of your family and your grandchildren all the way down the line if you fully understand what is going on. And I'm about to show you some guys that have their ear to the ground. They know what's going on and they know what's coming. And this is a fascinating video. But first, I want to give credit for the guy who made me aware of it and a couple of other people. He copied me on this on Twitter. His name is Daryl Stevenson. I followed him when I saw him post this at LYRAD1964. He copied me on this. This was a retweet, I believe, that Galgatron, which you should also follow. Galgatron is an active XRP community member at GALGITRON. And Galgatron had retweeted the actual tweet, which was from Jill RXRP at JR Ambassador XRP. And she had put this up. A lot of insider info in this video on institutional investors coming into crypto and their mindset on buying and holding suggested. Must watch. Okay, now here I go. I have gone through, and first I want to tell you, these guys, this guy's just the CoinDesk guy who is doing the interview. The guy on the left is Mark Yusko, and the guy on the right is Anthony Pompliano. Now, I know Pompliano is on Twitter. You should follow him. Now, I want you to keep in mind, Pompliano is a Bitcoin guy, okay? And so, as we've talked about a lot over the last few months, a lot of times you have to use Bitcoin interchangeably with digital assets as a whole. That's what they're talking about here. But the bottom line is we already know all about XRP and where it really stands among all these cryptos. I'm not going to get into that. I just want, these guys are with Morgan Creek Capital Management. They deal with institutional investors, and this entire interview tells you everything that's going on and what the way that these guys think and the way that the institutional investors think, what they're doing. And I'm about to kind of summarize this for you. But do not go this weekend without going and watching this video. Go to at JR Ambassador XRP, and she's got it in her Twitter feed. Okay, the first thing that the guy says is they asked him, what are all these institutions are thinking about this price? And the interviewer's asking him that type of thing. He says, institutional investors, they do not think about the price right now. And he was basically saying these guys have a long-term investment plan, and they're not focused on all of this. He said they're focused on the fact that this is a new asset class. And he said they're also focused on the fact that right now bonds don't have a return. He said at the point that equities are, they know that they're looking at low returns now and into the future, at least into the midterm future. And so he said that the institutions are looking for alternative investments. He said, and then he went on to say, he said, now coming up, he said, these institutional investors, they know that we're going to have crypto equities and we're going to have crypto fixed income and several other crypto investment products. And so a lot like I've told you before, he's talking here about how all of these investment products are going to be created, and they're in the process of being created, and these institutional investors know what's going on. He also said that the institution, with regard to price, the institutional investors see this as a sale. They see these digital assets as being on sale. Then the interviewer went to Pompliano, and Anthony Pompliano made I think I'm saying his name right. He made an interesting point, and this is something that you, as an XRP investor or any other digital asset investor, should really let sink in. He said there are less than 5% of Americans that own or have ever owned crypto. Now think about that for a minute. Behind the scenes, you have all of these institutions that are gearing up. All of traditional finance is gearing up to come into this space. And they know less than 5% of Americans have ever owned crypto. Ever. In fact, the guy here, I'm drawing a blank on his name, Mark Yusko, he said that this Thanksgiving, in the midst of this downturn, he said that this Thanksgiving, the younger people at his Thanksgiving table were asking him, how do I get in? How do I buy? And they're trying to figure out how to get in. So it's coming. Okay, moving along. Another thing that they said is I was extremely impressed with this Mark Yusko and how he explains the psychology of retail investors and the flaw in retail investors' thinking. And trust me, people, I am talking to those of you that are listening to me. I am talking to those of you who put the poison in the comments section of my videos. I'm talking, and I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm talking to you. I understand that the nasty comments that people make about the market. Yeah, you've been saying this and this. I understand that all of that is born of fear. But I'm here to tell you, listen up very, very closely to what I'm about to say and what this guy says. This is a guy who's been in the biz. He knows what he's talking about. And here he talks about retail investors and the psychology. And if you can ever, especially you young people out there, if you can ever get a grasp on how you emotionally and mentally need to think towards investing, you will make a ton of money. And so listen to this and listen good. He says, retail investors have a knack for buying at the top and selling when it crashes. And he says, humans are herd animals. They buy whatever's popular. And then he goes on to say, comfort, and this I thought this was a pretty interesting statement, and so I titled my video this. He said, comfort is the enemy of returns. In other words, if you feel really good, like for instance, Facebook, Google, those are really popular investments. That's the last thing that you need to be investing in. When they're talking about it on CNBC, the real money's already been made. I mean, if you like, oh, I bought some Facebook, I bought some Google, that's not what you want to buy. Yeah, maybe if you're looking for some average Joe returns over the course of the next few years, yeah, maybe. But the big money was made on those a long time ago. That's the last thing the digital asset investor would buy. But he says comfort is the enemy of returns. And then he goes on and he says, if you make an investment and you feel sick to your stomach, you're going to make a lot of money. And he said, if you make an investment and you feel just great about it, you might make a little bit of money. But if it makes you, like right now, I go in and everybody on the planet, even the guy interviewing these guys in this video, everybody on the planet has this, well, I read this article the other day about how, is this the end of crypto? That's when you buy. Because because intellectually, if you've done your homework and you've done your research, you know that stuff is a lie. You know that they're throwing that out, and it's a lie. It's not true. if you've done your research and you've looked into and you've used common sense guided by experience, as well as listening to smart people, listen to people who have been around, people that don't have agendas that are not in line with what you're trying to do, or that are out of line with what you're trying to do. Listen to those people, read, go out on the internet, look around, listen to videos. Don't just listen to my videos, listen to other people's videos, people that are smart, that you respect, that you listened to in the past. But comfort is the enemy of returns. And he also made a very interesting point, but first I wanted to say this. He mentioned that investors, they buy what's hot, they sell what's not. And he used the example. He said, look over on Black Friday, when you watch TV, you see the doors of Walmart opening up, and you see these people literally fighting to get in this store. There are people who have been trampled with people trying to get in Walmart to get a stupid sale on a TV. And what do? He made that contrast to the investing world. And he said the irony is, in investing, it works exactly the opposite. Those same people that are literally trampling human beings and killing them, which I've seen in the past, killing people to get a sale on a stupid TV. Those same people are the people in my comment section that are mad that the prices have gone down, who should be trampling on Binance to get in and buy. They should be buying because everything is on sale. But the great thing is, this isn't some dumb TV that's gonna go out of that's gonna not even be a good picture in the next 3 years. This is something that's going to change the world in the next 3 years. And so he was making those points, and I thought it was so really, just this video is, you got to go watch it. Okay. Another thing that they mentioned in the video is they said institutions are investing right now at a rapid rate. And they said that the liquidity, if you added the retail with what's going on in OTC that's not transparent, we can't see. He said you have about twice the liquidity that is being seen in retail in this space right now. And they said much of them, and this is a very interesting thing he said, they've had institutions that have been investing. He said much of the money that they've gotten from institutions is going to begin to go directly into digital assets. And he wasn't just referring to the money they manage. Over the course of the next few months and year or two, you're going to begin to see some of this institutional money physically go into Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum and all these digital assets. Now, here's another interesting thing that he said that I wanted to make sure I pointed out to you. He was talking about what the digital asset industry is and what you should compare this to in your mind. He said this is the next phase of the major tech cycle. He said in 1954 we had the mainframe computer. In 1968 we had the microchip. In 1982 the personal computer. In 1996 the internet. And then in 2010 we had the mobile net. And he said this is how early you all are. Listen to this. He said around 2024 is where he sees the trust net. And he said the trust net, or the internet of value. And he says we are at the very beginning of Bitcoin and crypto adoption. At the very beginning. He said we're in the equivalent we're in the equivalent of 1996. He said we're in the dial-up era. And those of you that had a dial-up internet connection, you know. And he said, then he went on to say, how many people were buying off of Amazon.com in 1996 with their dial-up connection as compared to the people buying now that we have broadband and cell phones and adoption. He said, how many people? And then he says, they went on to say, the last 5, and this is something that I kind of want to leave you with. There's one other thing, but he said in the last 5 years, he goes, with all of this whining and the hemming and hawing we've seen, those are my words, over the last year about, oh, we've gone down 70, 80, 90%, whatever. He said, people don't take a step back and look. The last 5 years, crypto has been the best performing asset class in the world, by far, in the world. The best performing asset class, period. And he says, and he added, he said, every low, and this is something you need to really think about. He goes, the other thing that's so great, every low is higher than the previous low. Every time we have one of these crashes, he said, every low has been higher than the previous low. Every time we have a bull run and then a crash, it's a natural thing. He said, this is that shows you this is a growing asset class. Last 5 years, best performing. Now I want to go back to what he said. He said 2024 we're going to have TrustNet, and he also called it the Internet of Value. And the thing that popped in my head immediately was a tweet from Stephen Diep that I showed you. I think it was last week. And this was a video where Ashish Burla was talking, and he was talking about how early on he was talking to Chris Larson. And Chris Larson said, we don't know when, but Internet of Value solved by blockchain is going to happen. Make sure we are in the position before this thing takes off. And that is what you need to know. And you need to understand that comfort is the enemy of crypto holders or potential crypto buyers. Comfort, if it makes you comfortable right now to go out and buy crypto, if it made you comfortable, it wouldn't be the opportunity that it is. The reason Facebook and Google are not near the opportunity they were if you had invested in them, say, 4 years ago, is because now it's a comfortable investment. If things are comfortable, the potential is not even close to what it is when they're not. You buy when nobody else wants it. Or in other words, I'll give you this quote. You buy when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own. And trust me, the digital asset investor, I have some of my own blood in the streets. But do you know what I do? Not a little bit, not sometimes. Do you know what I do? I buy. I'm not telling you need to buy, and I'm not a financial advisor, but I am buying, and I'm buying every single week because I know what's coming. And I know that the world is about to change, and I'm going to finish by telling you one thing that they said in this video. At the very end of this video, they asked these guys, and I was pretty blown away by this. They didn't come out and say it, but in so many words they did. They were asking these guys about where they saw all of this going, and these guys were making the point that adoption is going to continue and demand will continue with the growth of the asset class as well as population growth and just demand in general. And they said when you have an asset that is limited in amount, such as Bitcoin as the example they use, but also XRP, they were basically saying, how can the price do anything over time but go up? Now, they said there will be pullbacks, but over time, with adoption and demand increase over time, how does it do anything but go up? I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that comfort is the enemy of returns. Thanks for listening.